Hi guys, Ron here from Out and About Outdoors. We're going to bring you another episode today of cooking. We're going to be making some seafood chowder. Recently I went out on a fishing trip with Harry, and we were able to harvest two really nice stripers. And I brought mine home, cleaned it up. Sorry I didn't make a video of all of that, but I do have some of the striper meat, and I do have some of the fish stock I was able to make from it, and I'm going to show you all how I make some seafood chowder. Hope you enjoy. Chop up like 5 small potatoes, and we already did the carrots. And the carrots, it says on the recipe to use 2 carrots. So what we figured that would come out to is about, ours is like about just a little over a cup, like a cup and a quarter or something like that. So it really doesn't give you an exact recipe amount for the vegetables, but that's what we're going to use. Okay, so here we are with the potatoes. After I was done chopping them up, you want them a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cube, roughly. And we chopped up 5 small potatoes, medium potatoes, I guess you could call them. They were new potatoes, so I left the skin on. And for that, it gave us about, I guess it's probably about 2.5 cups to 2 3/4 cups of potatoes. Okay, here we are with our onion. It's a pretty big onion. I cut it in half already without thinking, but we're only going to use half. It says a whole one, but we're going to use half. All right, because it's a pretty big onion, and I guess onion is something that maybe you can go on your own taste. So a half of a sweet onion. I have a white one here, white sweet onion, but you can use whatever kind you really, I guess whatever you really like. So yeah, we did the same thing. We sliced the onion up into about 1/2 inch slices. And now I'm going to chop it up. It says to chop it into little cubes. Doesn't really give you a size on it. So I'm going to base it that I want it a little smaller than my carrots and stuff. So maybe it's a 1/4 by 1/4 or something like that I'm getting into. Alright, and I know I'm not the best guy with a knife, but there you go. There's my onion chopped up. And as you can see, it's easily over a cup of onion. So yeah, like a cup, 1 cup of onion. That's what we got. Alright. Okay, here we are with the celery. The recipe is calling for a 1/2 cup of celery diced. So I'm going to go ahead and get that chopped up, and I'll show you how much that comes out to. 1/2 cup. Okay, diced, I'm going to assume the same thing. It doesn't have to be super small, but small enough that, it gets in through everything and you have the flavor. So yeah, that's what we got. We got about a 1/2 cup from those 2 stalks after we chopped it up. And you can see the pieces are just a little 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch or so pieces. Okay, so that's what I would suggest. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I guess you could chop it bigger or smaller depending on how much celery you want to put in there. But the recipe's calling for a 1/2 cup, so that's what I'm using as my 1/2 cup. Okay, the recipe is also calling for 3 tablespoons of butter. So we buy our butter in sticks. So if you look on the side of the stick before you uncover it, it tells you roughly where the 3 tablespoon mark is. Just cut it up. I cut mine into each individual tablespoon. Reason being is because when I put it in the pan, I want it to melt quickly so I can get it hot, so I can get the flour and stuff into it. But we're going to have to saute our vegetables first, and then we'll have to add the flour. So let's go with putting the butter in and then putting in the vegetables after the butter warms up. Okay, as you can see, we have right now, we have celery, butter, carrots, potatoes, and onion. All right, that's going to go into the making of the chowder. And then we also have to add, we have some heavy cream right here. We're using this heavy cream. It's a heavy whipping cream. The recipe is saying we need a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. We're going to be adding to this cooked shrimp. All right. The recipe is calling for a 1/2 pound each of to a pound of the cooked shrimp, and we're also putting in sea scallops. And these are bay scallops, so they're not as big. They're a smaller one, but they'll be good for the chowder. And then we're also going to be adding our fish after it was cooked down. Looks like this. This is boneless pieces and chunks of fish that came from cooking down the bones, the skeletal parts of the striper, and this will be added too as a meat and help flavor the soup and make it more hearty. Also, last but not least, we need to add milk. The recipe is calling for 2 cups of milk on top of 4 cups of fish stock. Now, we made our own fish stock, and I'm sorry I don't have the video for that, but we'll be adding our fish stock to it too. So overall, you're going to get quite a bit of soup. This is going to come out to at least, I'm thinking about almost a half a gallon of soup. Okay guys, so now we're ready for the sauteing part of the vegetables, getting the roux ready, so to speak. We're going to add to that, we put our pan on, we're going to put it on a medium-high heat. Get it up on high right now, we'll turn it down once the pan gets hot. So we want to get that pan hot. Alright, and once we get the butter melted and the onions sauteed down and celery, then we're going to add 3 tablespoons. What is that? Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Alright, that's going to thicken it up and make our roux. Alright, the pan's hot. We butter in here. 3 tablespoons. Okay, now we're going to wait for the butter to melt. Okay, and cover the bottom of the pan, and then we'll get our vegetables in there to saute. Okay, so you want to wait till the butter's melted a little bit so that it's hot. Then we're going to add in to the butter our onion and our celery. Okay, then we'll give it a quick stir around so everything gets down in there, gets into the heat. Then we're going to let it sit there and sweat a little bit in the butter, get it all translucent before we put it into our fish stock, which we have over here heating. Now we're using 4 cups of fish stock. Right, and as you can see, there's our fish stock. It looks like any fish stock you would buy in a box. You don't have to make your own. I just chose to make my own because, well, I was cooking down the fish anyway to get the meat off the bone to make the chowder, so why not make the fish stock? Okay, so now after you get your vegetables cooked to a translucent state, where they're just about ready to become, almost see-through, all right, we're going to take and we're going to add our 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and we're just going to shake that over so we get it evenly in there, and we're going to stir it up a little bit. And that's about what we're going for right there. Just a couple minutes like this, to get that flour cooked in, and it absorbs the butter and gets the gluten stabilized, so when we put it in here it doesn't lump up. Okay, our onions and flour and celery are now cooked to the point where we want to get them added into the fish stock. So what we're going to do is we're just going to slide this kettle over to this burner. Alright, and my assistant will lift you up a little bit. So now we have this, and we're just going to take it all and we're going to put it right here in this water, or into this fish stock. Okay, you should smell this. It smells good already, and it's just onions and celery and fish stock. Alright, so there we have it in there. No, it's not going to get super thick right away, but over time as this cooks, it'll help thicken it up and make a nice hearty broth. Alright. Okay, so we're going to put our potatoes in here and our onion, and we're going to give that a quick stir. Alright, with everything else that's in there, we're just going to give that a quick stir, let that look good. Okay, and we're going to let that cook here on a medium heat for about 15 minutes till the potatoes and the carrots are tender. Alrighty, so now we got these vegetables cooking here now for 15 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to take a spoon and push on it, and if it breaks up real easy, and you know it's ready to go. This isn't quite done, but that's okay. That's pretty easy breaking. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our shrimp Okay, not our shrimp. We're gonna add our bay scallops first, and then we're gonna add our shrimp. And we don't need to cook these long. All we gotta do is bring this stuff up to temperature, maybe another 5 or 10 minutes. But all these vegetables in here are gonna be cooking that much longer too. Okay, so we have 12 fairly large shrimp, and we have in here 2.5 cups to 3 cups of bay scallops. You can use any size scallop, but you just use a bay scallop. We're going to put the scallops in first, and we're going to have a couple minutes to soften up and cook a little bit, and then we'll add the shrimp, because the shrimp is already cooked. And you can see this is looking really good in here. It's nice and hearty. It's not thick, but it's thickening, and yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, so we got those bay scallops in here, and they've just been cooking here now again for a couple minutes. And the scallops, you can see the scallops are now ready to go. We could probably eat those if we wanted to. It doesn't take long to cook them. And now we're going to put the shrimp in, okay? And that's in now. And we'll let that cook a little bit just so it gets good and hot. And then we'll add in our cream and milk. Alright, after this it gets a chance to heat back up. Well, here we go. We got this cooking pretty good here now, so everything's nice and hot and cooked. So we're going to add the milk and the heavy cream, stir that up, let that cook just a little bit, and then we'll add in, the last thing we're going to do is add in the fish, because the fish is already cooked and we don't want to really break it up, so we just want to get it in and get it hot, and then the soup's going to be done. Okay, so to this we're going to add 2 cups of whole milk, and then the half a cup of heavy cream is going in. Smells like the best New England clam chowder I ever smelled. It's really smelling good. Okay, you can see down there. So we're going to let that heat up just a little bit, and then we got, this is our fish. Now it's probably, if you're going to go buy this and you're just going to use whole fish, I would suggest cod or haddock, something a meaty fish that flakes easy, and then just cook it, okay, and something you can break up into chunks, but won't break up all the way down into like mush, you know. Okay, now the recipe did suggest putting about a tablespoon of sugar in. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that, because I can see that that would help blend all the flavors. So we're 1 tablespoon, not much more than that, just a tablespoon. We don't need to really sweeten it. What it's going to do is it's going to melt down in there and combine with all the other seasonings that are in there and flavors, and blend them to help blend them together. Okay, and now before we put a whole lot of other flavors in there, we're just going to give it a quick taste. Oh, that is so good. It's not salty, it's not peppery, it has good fish flavor without being really overpowering. I'm telling you, this is perfect. All right, but like all things, you could probably use a little salt. So we're going to put some salt in there. All right, there we go. A little salt, and a little black pepper, because like everything else in life, I like black pepper, just about everything. So we're going to add some black pepper. Okay, like that. And I had put some of that Everglades seasoning in, and we're going to add some more, because I like the flavor that you get from that Everglades. And this is Everglades original. It's not one of the other ones. There are a couple of flavors when it comes to Everglades, and okay, and then we'll taste it one more time, and then we'll get my daughter in here and get her approval or disapproval of how that chowder tastes. Okay, but from what I see, this is going to be good. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so there you go, guys. This is a real quick, simple way to take what would have been throwaway food and make it into a nice, delicious, hearty meal for a cold day. Some nice seafood chowder. What do you think, Melissa? How is it?
I know. It's way better than I thought it would be. But very good.
Not too bad, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got a piece of the striper there. That was very good.
Mm. Tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Success.
Give it a try. Like I said, if you're somebody who likes a New England style chowder, I recommend it. Okay? Till next time, take care, and God bless you all.